Hey, what is up, everyone? Happy St. Patrick's Day. 2 minutes in the box with Gordo today. We have a lot to talk about over the weekend. Standing updates, latest news and rumors. Tristan Jari playing well in his last 4 games. Phil Kessel, bobblehead night. Gabriel Landeskog exciting on the ice. Records to be broken at the WPHL, NHL rankings, St. Patrick's Day, and previewing tonight's games. And let's get to it. Let's recap last night's games. Okay, no surprise here. The Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars. What a close matchup it was. Highly anticipated. Mika Rantanen making his first game return for the Dallas Stars against his former team, the Colorado Avalanche. Very impressive game indeed, all the way around, back and forth, back and forth. And I'll tell you, Cal McCarr is a stud. A goal and 2 assists, 25th goal of the season. Nathan MacKinnon, 76 assists. Brock Nelson has definitely fit in nicely with the Colorado Avalanche, 25 assists so far. And I got to tell you this, Martin Necas, he has been spectacular for the Colorado Avalanche ever since being traded for Mika Rantanen. Wow. 23 goals for Mika Rantanen. Cal McCarr's got 53 assists this season. I mean, this is going to be a definitely fun matchup in the first round between the Avalanche and the Stars. And we're going to Hockey Town, USA, the Motor City Detroit Red Wings. Great win. What a great way of getting 2 points and staying alive in the wild card chase. The Detroit Red Wings winning 3-0 against the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas Golden Knights not getting those 2 valuable points. Not getting them means that they can't maintain the lead in the Pacific Division. And you've got the Edmonton Oilers playing catch up on the Pacific Division. Victors of the 3-1 win against the New York Rangers, trying to keep their wild card hopes alive, but they're still in the lead, though. They're still in the lead. And I'll tell you, the Oilers, Connor McDavid, 25 goals. This dude is unbelievable when it comes to playmaking, but he is in the top 5 in that category in the statistical area. And Leon Draisaitl, spectacular player he is. He is another MVP, another player who's been very impressive on the goal scoring sheet so far this season. And what an upset victory that the New York Islanders avoided a season sweep on the Florida Panthers. And the New York Islanders getting 4 unanswered goals in the third period. And the New York Islanders winning 4-2 against the reigning Cup champs, the Florida Panthers. And the Islanders are keeping their wild card hopes alive still. And I got to tell you, Florida Panthers, though, they are a little shaky without Ekblad and Kachuk. It worries me. It really does worry me. But the Islanders, though, it doesn't worry me that they still have some fight in them left for a wild card spot. And speaking of wild card spot, the St. Louis Blues, 7-2 victors against the Anaheim Ducks, 1,000-game ceremony for Braden Shen. And I'll tell you, this St. Louis Blues team is still alive for that wild card spot. And Utah Hockey Club, speaking of which, they beat the Vancouver Canucks 3-1, and they keep their wild card hopes alive. And the Canucks still have a glimmer of hope, but they are tied with a couple certain teams. And the Winnipeg Jets getting a victory against Seattle Kraken 3-2 overtime win. And I'll tell you, Dylan Sandberg, what a good victory for Winnipeg. Clutch goal in overtime. And, it's one of those goals, you've got to, grind it out. And looking at the latest standings in the Eastern Conference in the Atlantic Division, you've got the Florida Panthers with 85 points. Tied for second and third are the Lightning and the Maple Leafs with 81. And in the Metropolitan Division, you've got 96 for the Washington Capitals, 86 for the Carolina Hurricanes, 78 for the New Jersey Devils, and the wild card one, the Ottawa Senators, and the New York Rangers at 72. Montreal Canadiens are 1 point behind the Rangers for that final wild card spot, and the Columbus Blue Jackets and Detroit Red Wings 2 points behind the Rangers for that final wild card spot, and the Islanders 4 points behind for the final wild card spot against the New York Rangers and the Bruins as well. And the Pittsburgh Penguins, they are 6 behind the New York Rangers. And looking in the Western Conference, you've got Winnipeg Jets at 98 points. The Stars and Avalanche are very close. They're very close. The Dallas Stars are at 87 and the Avalanche at 85. That is going to be an interesting series if the season ended today. I believe that no matter who gets home ice advantage in that series, if it happens, when it happens, I got to tell you, it will go to 7 games. And in the Pacific Division, you've got the Vegas Golden Knights with 86 points. The Oilers are 4 points behind with 82, and the LA Kings with 81, 5 behind. And keep an eye on this division, guys, because you never know who's going to be the top dog in the Pacific Division. And the wild card, you've got the Minnesota Wild at 79 points, and they are 6 behind the Colorado Avalanche for third, and the Vancouver Canucks and the St. Louis Blues, 73 points each. And so basically, the Canucks have slightly the edge over the St. Louis Blues. And meanwhile, 2 points behind are the Utah Hockey Club and the Calgary Flames. The Flames, they got a game in hand. So basically, it's going to be an interesting night tonight in the schedule in the hockey world on St. Patrick's Day. All right, 5 games on the dock tonight. You've got the Buffalo Sabres and the Boston Bruins. You've got the Philadelphia Flyers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. New Jersey, Columbus, Toronto, and Calgary. In Toronto, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are wearing green tonight, and the LA Kings play the Minnesota Wild. So I'll tell you guys, 5 good games, 5 interesting matchups. And my thing is, I'm just curious. I believe the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Toronto Maple Leafs, those two right there, if those two teams win tonight, they will basically be tied for second and third still with 83 points. But if one of them wins, if Toronto wins, they leapfrog Tampa Bay and Tampa Bay loses. And vice versa, the other way, Tampa Bay wins and Toronto loses, it flips over. If they both lose, they're still stuck second and third. Calgary, though, if they win tonight, they come back as a second wild card in the West. LA, they can leapfrog the Edmonton Oilers. And if Minnesota wins, they increase their points. They'll be 4 points behind the Colorado Avalanche. Columbus, if they win tonight, they leapfrog and get the final wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. This is going to be exciting, though, guys. This is going to be exciting. It's going to be a feisty, fighting Irish night out here, eh? Oh, yeah. We're going to see a feisty, fighting Irish night. So, yeah, interesting indeed. So, now, Tristan Jarry, 4-0 with a save percentage of a 9.30 in his last 4 games. Impressive indeed. And Phil Kessel, bobblehead night this Friday night in Pittsburgh. And Phil Kessel, he's an unrestricted free agent still, hasn't retired yet, still has that record for most consecutive games played by an NHL player of all time. The Iron Man streak still lives on. And he's getting a bobblehead night. And Phil Kessel, he's a national treasure and a beauty. And Phil Kessel is one of those guys who has got one of the sickest shots of all time, and his flex and his accuracy and his speed. I mean, people say he's out of shape, but he's still one of the fastest players out there. And to top of all that, Phil Kessel, 3-time Stanley Cup champ, and this guy can still lace him up, but currently he is a professional World Tour poker player. Oh, yeah. He's very good with poker, okay, guys? He's very good with the chips, and he knows where to put the chips in and out. Yeah. So, yeah, and Gabriel Landeskog returning on the ice. And could we see Gabriel Landeskog return to the NHL playing circuit for the first time since lifting that Stanley Cup 3 years ago? Perhaps or perhaps not. But, Landeskog, those knees, I worry for the guy because he is one of the hardest working players and one of the best two-way players, and he's physical. He's one of the most one of the best two-way players for that decade alone. And it's a darn shame that we haven't seen him play for the longest time. I would love to see him play one more time. in the NHL. I mean, it's not like Forsberg. Peter Forsberg, when he was playing with the Avs, he had to get his ankle reconstructed many times. I mean, it's not the same thing with Landeskog, though, but Forsberg was more the impact player and the skill, the playmaking, the grit, and all. Landeskog, though, he had the leadership in him as well. Same thing with Forsberg. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, you know, Landeskog coming back could definitely help that locker room for the Colorado Avalanche. It could help. And record-breaking night in the Women's Professional Hockey League, Detroit, Little Caesars Arena, neutral site game, 14,288 fans in the stands. That's a new record. And also a topping with that achievement, 1 million fans have entered the Women's Professional Hockey League for attendance. A million people have attended these games. And I'll tell you, the WPHL is growing, women's hockey is growing, and the girls out there have role models. It's a beautiful sight to see in hockey. I'm very proud that they have this moment. And also, women's hockey is growing like crazy. And the great sport of hockey is growing like there's no tomorrow. And I'm very proud for the WPHL. And Detroit is definitely ready for a franchise in the Motor City for the WPHL and University of Michigan in the near future, and also Michigan State University. All right, now we've got the rankings of the best and worst owners in the NHL right now, according to 4,000 anonymous poll takers. All right. Starting from the top, from the best to the worst. And number one, the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Tampa Bay Lightning, number one. Number two, the Florida Panthers. Number three, the Vegas Golden Knights. Number four, the Dallas Stars. Number five, the St. Louis Blues. Number six, the Washington Capitals. Number seven, the Colorado Avalanche. Number eight, Utah Hockey Club. Number nine, the Ottawa Senators. Number 10, the Carolina Hurricanes. Number 11, Minnesota Wild. 12, the Montreal Canadiens. 13, the New Jersey Devils. 14, the Winnipeg Jets. 15, the San Jose Sharks. 16, the Nashville Predators. 17, the Toronto Maple Leafs. 18, the Boston Bruins. 19, the Seattle Kraken. 20, the Anaheim Ducks. 21, the New York Islanders. Edmonton Oilers at number 22. 23, the New York Rangers. 24, the Pittsburgh Penguins. 25, the LA Kings. 26, the Philadelphia Flyers. Detroit Red Wings at 27. 28, the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Chicago Blackhawks at 29. 30, the Calgary Flames. 31, Vancouver Canucks. 32, the Buffalo Sabres. Yeah, that's an interesting list. That's a very interesting list from the Athletic. Very interesting list indeed. Okay, now, Saints is St. Patrick's Day. Little Conor McGregor fist and a pump and a pump and a punch and a little MMA action right here. And I'll tell you, I wish that Conor McGregor would play hockey. Man, that dude would be a badass out there. He would definitely be a Boston Bruin. He would throw the punches. He would play like Cam Neely. He would score the goals, play physical. He would be that dude, and he would be the mayor of Boston. I mean, Conor McGregor would be a badass on the ice for the Boston Bruins since he's Irish and all, and Boston's one of the biggest Irish hubs in North America. I mean, gosh, oh golly, I mean, that would be awesome, for Conor McGregor. And speaking of Irish NHL players, Owen Nolan. Owen Nolan is one of 7 players in NHL history to be from the great country of Ireland and play in the NHL. So Owen Nolan played 1,200 games in the NHL. So he was born in Northern Ireland, sort of, in Belfast, but he grew up in Thorold, Ontario, Canada, and represented Canada in the Olympics and won gold medal in 2002. So Owen Nolan's not the only Irish player in the NHL. We have several others who played in the NHL before our time from Ireland, all right? Sid Finney from Northern Ireland from 1929 to 2009. Played his pro career from 1949 to 1969, played 59 games in the NHL. And we have Bobby Kirk from Dull, Ireland. So he played 39 games in the NHL from 1928 to 1942. And he was born from 1909 to 1970. And our third player, Jim McFadden. Jim McFadden From Belfast, Ireland. Played 412 games in the NHL. And he played his pro hockey from 1946 to 1954. And you've got Sammy McManus. Sammy McManus from Belfast, Ireland. Played 26 games in the NHL. Plays pro hockey from 1934 to 1947. And lastly, Jack Riley. Jack Riley played his hockey from 1929 to 1945. He was born on 1910 to 1993. So 103 games for Jack Riley. Wow, what a historic list of Owen Nolan, Sid Finney, Bobby Kirk, Jim McFadden, Sammy McManus, and Jack Riley. So that is Owen Nolan, that's 1. Sid Finney, 2. Bobby Kirk, 3. Jim McFadden, 4. Sammy McManus, 5. And Jack Riley, 6. Wow. That is a fun fact about Ireland and Irish and St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Okay, we'll be back here tomorrow for another episode of 2 Minutes in the Box with Gordo. Have a great rest of the day and stay safe on the roads. It's St. Patrick's Day and wear green.